Here we are at U2 Ministries podcast location.
This guy.
What is it? What day is it? It's Thursday. Wow. I'm in a little better mood today than I was last week, but you know, what's it really matter?
Really? Are you in a good mood?
I am in a good mood. Anyway, I am in a good mood.
Well, what's it matter?
What does it matter if I'm in a good mood or not? So anyway, here we are in U2 Ministries podcast location. This is Kimberly. I'm Mr. Amazing. What makes me amazing? It's Jesus. That's all. That's the only thing that makes me amazing.
That's true. That's
It is
it.
what it is. I got some good news. We are going to be in Halbert in another couple days.
Yeah.
Couple days.
2 days, right?
2 days. Saturday. So it's kind of crazy how I got over in Halbert. And as soon as I got over there, I knew that that's where God wanted me to be just because of the way it is over there. Not that it's a bad place. They just needed they needed a smiley face over there.
Mm-hmm.
And my face is smiley. Anyway, so we're going to baptize. There's like 53 girls wanting to get baptized that are on the list to get baptized. And there's only like 550 people there. So that's 10% of the prison that's getting baptized Saturday. That's amazing. That is amazing.
It is amazing.
Right? So, you know what?
Especially because I've been there. And I know the energy in that place. It's very sad and dark, and you feel ran down because of it's overly structured, right, for 2 different programs. And then there wasn't a lot of options when it came to faith-based anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was blown away whenever we went in and I saw the way it was, and it's kind of grown since then. So
Yeah, I know, because now girls are like, I'm like, why are you doing that? Say, well, we're not allowed to clap. I'm like, what?
yeah, see,
Well,
you
you
can't even clap for Jesus.
You can clap when you're in Mr. A's Bible study
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been good, and I'm glad that we're doing that. And Carrie, who's going to be on this podcast here in another couple weeks or whatever, she's been over there teaching a women's 12 Extraordinary Women of the Bible video series, and it's been really, really good. It's been good. So she's been stepping up doing that, and George's been over there singing. Kimberly, she was going to be there last Sunday, but no, she had a birthday stuff to do. So anyway, it is what it is. And I can't really get on her case because the week before that I was in the Bahamas, so everybody needs some time off. Everybody needs a little bit of time. That's fine. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so last week we were talking about the Promised Land.
Mm-hmm.
We're going back to that again.
Okay.
You know what? I'm super slow at this. I just am. And, you know, I think when I watched the one video, I thought, well, that may not have been all correct. And then I watched the next video and I thought, well, that was better. And then maybe today it'll even be even worse. But it is what it is. It's worser. I learned that word today or the other day.
Is that a word?
It is not a word.
Okay.
Because somebody told me it was getting worser. I'm like, okay, wow, that must be really bad.
Was it a kid?
When it's worser. No, it was a grown-up.
Oh my God.
It was an adult. It was an adult. Anyway, before we get going, you know what? Now that I'm retired, which I'm loving it, I'm actually working on my yard a little bit more.
Is it looking nice?
It is looking nice. Now, I try to keep a yard that's mowed, right? I mow my yard, and I try to have some flowers or some of this, but I'm going the extra mile this time. I've got flowers going. I'm learning all sorts of stuff about horticulture and landscaping and what to plant and what not to plant, what the deers will eat, what the deers won't eat. Because some of this, I'm sucking the deers in for these begonias and then shooting the deer. You don't even need corn. You just put these begonias up, and boom, they come over like candy. Which I'm not shooting, I'm just kidding. My neighbors wouldn't like that. And plus it's out of deer season, so that's not good. So that was a fake out. So I love Bambi. But anyway, so I'm learning a bunch of stuff, and you know, I'm having a good time. And then people say, well, when I go to the nursery, they're like, well, you have to water this all the time. So I got time. I got time to water. I could wake up in the morning and go outside and water stuff. I mean, I still have a sprinkler system, but some stuff needs to be hand watered. Anyway, I'm having a good time doing it. My yard's looking great. There's something about flowers that are super cool. Now, I'll just come out and say it. I'm not gay. So flowers is kind of a weird thing for me, but, just even talk about because it does kind of seem kind of weird. But flowers are pretty cool. And God has made some amazing, just so many different varieties of stuff. It's unbelievable. No different than animals, too. That God, he's pretty creative. He's pretty creative. He's super creative.
Yeah, he is.
He made me. I'm just like an old man
I
flower.
was just thinking that. I was gonna be like, yeah, he is. He made you.
Yeah. I was putting some flowers up today, hanging pots, and there was a hummingbird that comes swooping by as I was hanging the plant.
I love watching hummingbirds.
Their wings are moving so fast. It's crazy.
I love that.
Well, good for you. So anyway, all right, let's get back to that. What?
Good for you.
Good for you.
Frank
Frank is right there. Frank is there. My mom's right there. Tom the turkey's right here. That's Mr. Amazing. I know. Some girl the other day said, "How's your mom doing?" Well, she's hanging in there. She's on the table at the podcast location. And then I thought, well, when she asked me that, I thought, oh, no. How do you answer that? Hey, how's your mom doing? Well, she died.
So awkward,
it's
right?
Awkward. It's
so awkward.
Yeah, I know. It was a little awkward. But anyway, I'm okay with it. It is what it is. So how was your week been okay, Kim Burley?
It has been. I had a great weekend. I had some friends really come together for me, and it was really special for me because it meant a lot. I'm really grateful for that kind of thing. I used to not really care about anything like that, but I'm super grateful, right? Whenever people show up for me like that, because it just reminds me of the work God's done in my life.
They showed up for you, what do you mean?
For my birthday,
Oh.
They took me out for a nice steak dinner.
They took you out for a steak dinner?
Yeah.
Did they pay for it?
Yes.
Wow. I need friends like that.
And then they cooked for me. And
they
played
cooked for you?
On Sunday and made board game. We played board games.
Yeah, that's probably the only bad thing is you having to play board games.
Oh, no. They're so fun. Those games are so fun. And then...
nerds.
My Aunt Kathy, she lives 5 hours away. So she sent me... she loves flowers.
Okay.
So she sent me some spring roses
Wow.
and some lilies that aren't bloomed yet. So I get to watch them bloom.
Okay, keep watering them.
They're in a thing of water.
Oh, okay, good.
So, it was just,
Okay.
It was very nice. And then I got to spring clean my house and do my laundry and just get caught up on things that I kind of my house is not dirty. I clean it. But you know how it is whenever you just live in life on the rush all the time. There are certain cubby holes, junk drawers that get kind of junky. So I just got to clean everything out. And
okay.
it was nice.
Good. It's springtime.
Yeah, spring cleaning.
Spring cleaning. It's nice. I like spring.
And I cheated on my diet.
You cheated on your diet? Well, you lost what? You lost 17 pounds? How much you gained back?
None.
Oh, well then
I
you
didn't gain
really
any
cheat.
back. I only cheated on it one time.
Okay, what yet? Steak isn't cheating because that's protein.
No, we ordered appetizers for the whole, because there's a whole table. There's 8 of us there.
Wow.
So there was a whole table of appetizers, and I took a couple bites from each appetizer.
Well, that's okay. You can splurge. That's not really
No,
cheating.
because I tracked it on my calorie counter. Just a couple bites from each of those appetizers, 800 calories, all my carbs used up for the day.
Well,
Easy.
then why don't you go outside and walk a little bit and gain some more?
No.
No, you just sat around eat board games, eat pretzels and chips and stuff. It's okay. It's okay to go out, because when I went to the Bahamas, I ate a little bit too much, came back, I weighed the same. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then I'm walking all the time and don't lose any weight. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So, I don't know. But it's going to get hot. And you know what I'm going to do this year? I know that you girls and guys don't really care about this, but I'm going to start walking in my neighborhood without my shirt on.
Oh?
I am, because you know why? Because I can. I'm just an old guy with a pooch for a belly. So, what's it really matter? Nobody's ever saying, oh, it's an old guy with the pooch. Right? And then until somebody says to me, they said, man, I like a good dad bod. I'm
my God.
Oh, my God. Well, I got one of those.
Go put your clothes on.
Yeah, go put your clothes on. I know.
Get in the house.
I know, but I'm going to have a great tan this year, and it's going to be great. I'm not going to have one of those fake tans that you get, where you have to go and lay on the thing and it zaps you and gets you skin cancer.
Wow. Now you're hating on my
I'm going to have a
tanning
real,
bed tan.
exactly. I'm going to have a real tan from
Look
the
how
sun.
gold that tan looks,
Yeah,
though.
yeah, I know. Look how gold it is. Look at this tan.
It looks kind of red.
It does. It's kind of skinny, my skin. All right, let's get back to this. So we were talking in Joshua chapter 1 about the promised land. How Moses and them, they could have went to the promised land, but they didn't. They didn't go to the promised land. They seen God do all these miraculous things, and they get to it. And I know I talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. They get to the promised land. They get almost to it, and they send spies over there, 12 guys, one from each tribe. I think that's how it is. And then 10 of them come back and say, it's too much. We can't do it. They have no faith. God says it's already there to grab. They think that they can't do it, which they could not have done it themselves. But with God, they could have done it. So then they come back, and everybody except for 2 guys say they fall for the lie. And again, I've been working on this. I am so tired of the lie. How many times do we listen to other people tell us something that sounds like the truth? Oh, you can't do that. Okay. And then come to find out that one statement could change the whole course of your life by you not doing it. And next thing you know, you're wandering around outside the promised land because the land was promised to you. And then they say you can't take it. So now you're living the lie of not getting it. Then God's already going to give it to you. And I've said this a billion times because I'm in the prison system, right? So I've told this by teaching classes. Everybody wants a blessing. Everybody wants to be blessed. Everybody. And I think God's been trying to bless people, but you've been listening to the lie, so you're not getting the blessing from God. And it's not God's fault that he's not blessing you. He's trying to bless you, but it's your fault for listening to the lie and walking in that lie. And now you're blessed in the wandering around for 40 years, and you don't get what God's called you to do. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the lie. So the thing about it is now I've been thinking, I have to stop and think about all sorts of stuff because you're talking to a lot of people every day. Mm-hmm. Right? You talk to a lot of people.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right? In work and all sorts of stuff. And at any minute, somebody could say something to you that you could soak in, and it's a total lie. Like, something at work's going to happen. And it may not, because you never know how far it started here. And by the time it got to the 15th person that told you, the whole story's changed. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, yeah, they're going to have mass layoffs. And then you're thinking, oh no. And then you're worried about the layoffs. And then you're making choices over it. And come to find out, it wasn't the layoff. It was something that was going to be on layaway. And next thing you know, it got to you and it was layoffs. And next thing you know, man, you're making choices and this and that based on the lie, and you've made other decisions. And if you freak out about it, you could wind up changing jobs to something that God didn't want you to do, all over a lie. Instead of missing the blessing that God has for you now. Any minute, any second, it could happen. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, how do you feel about that? Let me ask you this. You ever lived one of those lies? I know I probably should have forewarned you on this,
yes.
but give me something that's
absolutely.
give me something that was just like, if you can think of something quickly, something that was like a lie that you actually thought was.
Okay, well, one was, so in prison you have a bunch of jailhouse lawyers and parole attorneys,
Yeah.
and people would always tell me, like, it's probably best for you to just, like, get ready for the long haul. And so I did. I got ready for the long haul. And yes, I did do a lot of time. So it kind of made me believe that lie a little bit more. But that was the big thing. Whenever I was going to make my next parole, a lot of people did not believe that I was going to get it. And I don't think I really thought I was going to get it, but that was like the big lie that I can really think of at the top of my head that really kind of relates, is that I was kind of being confined to my situation and my circumstance because of like my past, and I believed it, and so I made my home in a place, but God had a different plan. It was it was a lie. Like I wasn't, like I was always told, like, well, you can do good in here, but you're probably, not meant to do good out there, because this is where you're at. This is where you're staying. So this is where your purpose is. Your purpose is probably in this prison. And yes, maybe half of it wasn't a lie, because my purpose is in the prison. I go into the prisons and I get to testify for the Lord. But I believe that that's not true. My purpose was to be out here and to.
Well, somebody, because now if somebody's telling you be prepared for the long haul because you had a 25-year sentence, so yeah, but maybe somebody should have said, no, you need to prepare now because at any minute you could be going home.
Yeah.
That would have been the truth. Instead of like, okay, well, I'll put this off or I'll put that off or I'm not going home or whatever the case. I mean, how many days did you just lose hope because you thought you were never going to be able to go home sooner than 25 years because of what somebody said, instead of having the hope that.
And that's what I heard a lot from day one when I went in there, and I was like young. I was 23 when I went in. So like being really young, hearing that from people who had been down in and out like their whole life, I was like, well, they're probably right. They've probably seen this a lot. I probably am going to be here for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So, but that was a lie. So that's just one illustration of a kabillion of them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what a kabillion is, but it's a lot.
I don't think it's real.
Okay, it's not really. But anyway, I'm tired of it. And then you know what? I've seen people getting out of prison now, and somebody has told them that they're not worth it or they're never going to make it or they're not good enough or this and that. You start to fall for those lies. You got to quit doing that because God has promised you things in the Bible, but a lot of us don't know what those promises are. So I'm just, again, like I know I talked about this last week, and we're going to go over it a little bit again. When God says, I've given you the promised land, for some reason I think the promised land was perfect. I'm just thinking it was just like, oh man, as soon as I get to the promised land, I'll never have any more problems. And come to find out, the more I think about that, that's not what God says. He just says, I promise you this land. This land I'm going to give you. And he's been trying to give it.
And it was flowing with milk and honey, so it probably had a lot of livestock and like vegetation and like good soil. It was probably great land.
And maybe it had palm trees with dates and coconuts and bananas and who knows what else.
I think we're mixing up our geographic.
We probably are, but you never know. Well, coconuts?
No, I don't think that's there.
Okay, they had dates then, or whatever
like
the case
olives.
may be. Okay, maybe olives. Okay, whatever they had there, I don't know. But you think it was perfect. No, because you know what? Even if you had peach trees or olive trees, they still need to be pruned. If you had olives, you still have to press it.
Yeah.
If you had grapes, because that was probably there, you had grapes, well, somebody had to pick the grapes, somebody had to till the ground, somebody had to do the work. There was still stuff that you had to do. It wasn't just all just a freebie, like there it is, it's all just going,
It's yours, take it.
Yeah, well, the land was theirs. But God's been promising us stuff. And if you don't know what God's promises are, we're totally lost because now we're listening to the lies. If you don't know what God's promises are, and then I was thinking, well, we don't know what God's promises are, but then do we even trust God? Do we trust him? Because you know what? 12 guys went over there, only 2 trusted him. Mm-hmm. And everybody else. So, just think, in your life, how many people are there out there? Can you even get 12 people that are Christians that are telling you the truth?
Or to come to the podcast.
Or to come to the podcast. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even though you're a Christian, they can still be telling you stuff that's not true. People could be giving you advice that's not true. And then so when things go sour for me, I got to quit asking people for advice. I got to go to God's truth. But again, do I believe it's true? It's easy to say it's true, but am I actually applying the truth to prove that I know it's the truth?
Well, are you?
Sometimes. Sometimes I am.
I think sometimes I am too. I'm not going to say I'm perfect at it all the time. I'm not, because sometimes I believe the lies.
Sometimes. I know.
Because it's easy to, right? Because we're human. So sometimes I do fall short and I believe the lies a little bit and I have to get knocked back down to my little level, and God has to kind of like, hey.
That may be true, Kimberly, but the thing about it is, I think if we bombarded ourselves with God's promises more than the lies, we would be able to, no, not true, not true, not true, truth, not truth, truth.
Yeah.
Right, because you got more time than I got, more than likely. But I'm running out of time. So
you never know that.
Well, that's true. But Now that is true, but I don't want to live any more of my life under a lie. Why would I do that? It's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we were in Joshua chapter 1.
Put those glasses on.
I know, Joshua chapter 1. Where is it? It's back in here somewhere. You might want to go to it, Kim, because I'm going to ask you some questions about
Well,
this.
I got my phone out for it.
Well, good. Get your phone out. Joshua chapter 1. We read this the other day. It says,
Joshua 1.
yeah, it says, do not be afraid or discouraged, right? For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Is that a promise?
It is a promise.
So the Lord's, he's going to be
Wherever you go.
wherever you go.
Yeah.
So like last week, sometimes I was thinking, all right, God, where are you? Because I've done that. Like, where are you? Well, one of God's promises is, I go wherever you go. So you know what? I may not feel God's presence all the time, but you know what? I'm going to stand on his promise that he goes wherever you go. So that helps me to know that I'm never alone. And we could go back to hunting stories, because I've been to some places on this planet to where nobody would know where I was at. Like when I was in South Africa, I'm thinking, where in the world am I? Like, because you fly there, you're sleeping, you have no idea.
How's anyone
how
going
to
to
get out
find
of there.
me?
How are you going to find me? Or I was in Idaho one time, just out there on these mountains, and I'm thinking, you know what? Where in the world am I? But God knew where I was. And you know what? It gave me rest assured, no matter what happened, no matter where I was, that God was with me there, because he tells me I go wherever you go. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So what are the okay, so let's look at this one here. It says, do not turn from it, or it says, above all, be strong and very courageous, to carefully observe my whole instruction. My servant Moses commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left. And if you don't do that, it says, so that you will have success wherever you go. Is that a promise?
It's a promise.
But then we live in a society, where they say, oh, it's the prosperity gospel. Oh, you can't, like everything is just prosperity, this and that. Well, right here it says, if you don't turn from the right or to the left, you'll be successful wherever you go. Is that a promise, or is that a mistake in the Bible?
That's a promise.
So then what is success? What does success look like? Because that's probably where we get caught in the lie a little bit, because we're looking at success as the way the world shows success instead of what God says success is. So what if God says, if you don't turn from the right or to the left, right, back to the bowling alley with the bumpers in there, if we just stay straight in our lane, or in the lane that God's got for us, narrow path, that we'll be successful wherever we go. Whatever we do will be successful. But then what does that look like?
Are you asking, or is that
I am.
rhetorical?
I'm asking you.
I guess I could probably use like my life, for example, just because it's a personal experience and I know more about it.
You know more about your own life than you know about somebody else's life? Go figure.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
So I just do that so I can be more.
Hang on,
relatable.
that was super deep.
It's so deep.
Sorry, Kim.
Gosh, you're so mean.
I am mean sometimes.
Stay on the narrow path.
Okay.
Hateful.
Not hateful, just mean.
So it's kind of like, I feel like I have a lot of success.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not like top notch, if anything, right? But I have a lot of success in comparison to where I've come from.
No doubt about that.
And
you have success. Let me spell some of it out. Not getting into your business, but you have a job, right? That's a good job.
Yes.
You have a job that you actually can grow.
Yes.
And move up.
And I have.
You have your own apartment, so you're not having to trust any guy or anybody to, you're not.
I'm not living off of anyone.
You can pay your own bills, right? So there's some independence of that. You have your own car. You're paying your own bills. You're doing good as far as the world goes. It's successful.
Yes.
And that's okay because God's blessed you with those things.
Right. And the reason that I feel like why that success looks the way it does is because of what has happened behind the scenes, right? I feel like I have stayed in my lane, so to speak, right?
Okay.
I have put the work in. It's not like I just got out and got all this stuff handed to me.
It's true.
I was very hardworking, right? I was very dedicated and disciplined. I did what was required of me by the law of man, and it says in his word to obey the laws of man. So I was following one of his commandments.
Okay.
All right. I encouraged others in Christ. I have learned to love others in Christ. I have learned to serve and to spread his good news and spread the gospel. I have shared my testimony, which is me being the salt of the earth and light of the world. I have been very committed to it, even more so since I've started working, because, you know, I do Bible studies at for a different ministry once a month. And I do work with YouTube ministry pretty often, a lot, right? And I have stuck to that. Like there's been times, you know, where I'm just like, throughout the journey since I've been home for over 3 years, but I stuck to it. You know, I never let my flesh get so far in the way that I could not stop it, right? That I couldn't control myself. Like I always kept my eye on God, even in the hard moments whenever I was being a little baby and crying about some struggles I was going through, because we're all going through some kind of struggle.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Right? Even though I was a little baby, I still kept my head up and I still tried to keep as positive about it as possible, right? I maybe made some jokes about it, but I think that's what success looks like. I think that's how, like, what success looks like. Whenever you have the things that you have, but it's because you've put your commitment into God, who is greater and bigger. And it says in his word that he will give you the strength to prosper. So that right there is backed up by that, by that. And that's in Deuteronomy, you know?
Okay. So, but then also, right? Like God will open some doors for you, and he'll give you the opportunity, but you still have to trust him and walk through those doors.
Oh, yeah.
Because there could have easily been times where you think, well, I can't do that. I'll never be able to do
I
that.
had to take I always told me and Katie.
Some risks.
Yeah, yes, you have to take risk. And I always say that you have to take like free fall leaps of faith.
Yeah.
Like whenever I got the job that I had, I turned it down like 5 times. And it wasn't even that I turned it down. I kept getting the calls and I ignored them.
Yeah.
I kept getting the emails and I ignored them because I didn't have the faith at the time in like who God had created me to be and what he had created me for. I did not.
Because you listened to the lies.
I was listening to the lies. And that's one of the like places where I kind of, you know, wavered a little bit. And do you know who encouraged me to follow Daniel?
No idea. Daniel?
Yeah.
Daniel who?
Daniel, my friend.
The guy who was cheating on you with his grandma? Sorry.
Oh my God. I can't believe you said that was his girlfriend.
That was funny.
Facebook.
It was odd. He was sitting next to somebody that was older. I said, is that Daniel's new girlfriend? Come to find out it was his grandma. Sorry.
Anyway.
Yeah, whoops.
So Daniel and I, he's been my best friend since I've gotten out, right?
Okay.
So we used to work together, and he, you know, so obviously he heard me boohoo and cry. Him and Al both has heard me boohoo and cry. And he was like, just take it. Just, you say you have faith in God, you know, just maybe this is God answering your prayer. And just full disclosure, Daniel's not a big, he's not like how we are about God. Daniel's not like that. He, you know, he has some curiosities and stuff. He's getting there, I think.
Daniel needs to take the big step. But it's okay, but it's crazy how he was the one encouraging
that
you.
He was the one. It's crazy because that's who God used. God used somebody who doesn't even really follow him.
Yeah.
To get to someone who has complete faith in him and was being a big baby.
So, and you know what? So I'm glad that you're staying on the right track. But there's also times to where, let's say not you, but let's say something happens to where, you know, you get sick. And you get cancer or somebody dies, and then you think, well, I've been on the right path, but now Success isn't following me wherever I go. Well, I don't know about you, but if I get sick, I'm still going to be successful. If I get cancer, I'm still going to be successful. When bad things happen and other people do stuff or whatever the case may be is against me, I'm still successful. If I take my last breath today, I'm still going to be successful. And I'm successful wherever I go because it says right here, do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So sometimes, we're looking at success as certain things, but no matter what I'm going through, God is with me everywhere I go. No greater success than having God with you everywhere you go, no matter what happens, good, bad, or ugly. But we're so used to listening to the lie to think it's the world is saying, and Satan's trying to think that, you'll be successful in the world. Well, all that stuff is going to get burnt. All that stuff is going to be what do they call it? It's going to be not here anymore. So a lot of times we think success is God blessing us with certain things, and that's okay that he does, but that's not where our success comes from. Our success comes where he is going to be with me wherever I go.
Amen.
Is that so true, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then then when it comes to relationships, there's so many people that have got out of prison that get into these goofy relationships that they shouldn't be in right yet. You know who I'm talking to.
Oh my God.
I know. Look, I'm not on your case, but you know what? What does God say? What are God's promises? How many times do I hear girls when I say, what does success look like to you? Success for me, for girls, a lot of girls say, I would just like to be able to pay my own bills and not having to depend on somebody else. I want to be able to have a job and have a car and have this. You know what? But then you get out of here, instead of trusting in God.
You trust
right?
in crispy bacon.
You trust in crispy bacon. Yeah, you're trusting in somebody else instead of the Lord. What you're doing is you're listening to the 10 people that says, no, God's never going to give you what you want. You have to try to get it for yourself in some other person. And that never works out. It never works out.
Ooh, whoever he is talking to.
I'm just trying to give you the best advice I can, because that's when you trust in the Lord. Because you girls and you guys, you have dreams, you have hopes, and you have dreams, and God knows what they are, because he's been there with you wherever you've been, whenever you've said it. But then we're listening to the lies that you can't do it on your own. Maybe it takes more than a couple days. Maybe you just have to hang on just a couple more days. Maybe if you would just say no to Joe Smokable or crispy bacon, then maybe God's got something for you the next day that's bizarre, that you're just like, only God could put it together. But you don't know what his promises are. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying trust God's promises. And we're going to start going over some of God's promises. We're not going to do it all today because, wow, there's a lot of them. Isn't there?
There is.
But I have some today.
What do you want me to do with this? Read them?
No, I don't want you to read them. I just want you to look at them.
That's a lot.
I know. But just think, if we know what God's promises are, because Moses knew what God's promises were too, and he still goofed it up. But if we know what God's promises are, and if we just follow those promises and stay on the right path, you're going to be blessed in what you do. It's a no-brainer. So you know what? We're gonna simplify some of this. You can't get any more simpler than me talking. I'm about as simple as it gets. So I want to go to Colossians 3. What is it? 3 what? 3. Oh, that's because I'm in 2 right there. That's not going to make it. Okay, so it says, let the message about the Messiah dwell richly among you. So what it's saying is you need to read your word, you need to apply the word, and you need to trust it. And when God promises something, he's going to come through. What, wasn't it Sarah? Didn't God promise her a baby and she was 80 years old? Wasn't that who that was? And, I'm thinking, well, she ain't going to get pregnant at 80. But then what does she do? Instead of believing the Lord, what does she do?
She laughed.
She laughed, and then didn't she send somebody else to have relationships with Abraham? And then they had somebody else besides Isaac? And then that's where the mess came in. Sometimes you take measures into your own hands because you don't think God's going to pull it off for you. And then next thing you know, God does give her a baby, and that's where Isaac shows up from. Or, it's constantly. What about Leah and Rachel? Right? Mm-hmm. So, next thing you know, Rachel's given the maidservant to this. But instead of trusting in the Lord, they step in and they start doing stuff on their own, all because of the lies. That they're not being patient, waiting for God. So what we need to do is and I'm not saying that I read my Bible all the time, because I do not. So I'll just like a disclaimer on that, because people are like, oh, when people ask me, where's that in the Bible? I say, how should I know where it's at? Look how thick this thing is. like what?
You don't know?
I don't know. But what I want to do is I want to know what God's promises are. And if God's never going to leave me or forsake me, then why am I jumping ahead of him? Why am I trying to go without him? I mean, he's still going to be there, but I'm going to have to trust in his ways. And I want to promise you, like we talked about last week, you always have to take the first step. And the first step is faith. So first of all, you need to read your Bible. You need to find out what the promises are. And then you got to quit listening to the lies and just follow through with God's promises. Here, let me have one of those. Let me have that. Throw you on a little kibosh right there.
I can't even read that.
You can't read this? That's why.
Can you read it?
Yeah, what do you want a promise of? I got them all here. I got promises everywhere.
Out the wazoo. I got promises out the wazoo.
I got promises out the wazoo. I just need to start applying some of these.
Where am I going?
Let's go to protection. Mm-hmm. Let's go to that. Let's go to Psalms 91:4.
I just read that last night.
Well, boom. Are you serious?
I read the whole one.
Okay, go to Psalms 91:4. I'll go to Psalms 121. 121. Look, we live in the 21st century. Google some of this. Google God's promises, but then follow up with it just to make sure it's actually the right thing.
You said 91:4?
91:4. One of God's promises.
Psalms 91:4. He will cover you with his feathers. He will shelter you with his wings. His faithful promises are your armor and protection.
Okay. So, you know what? Let me get to that. Let me we're not going to go over all these obviously, but we can go over a couple of them. 91 what?
4.
Okay. So let's say you're having relationship issues. Right? Okay. Let's say you're having relationships. Let's say you're wanting to follow the Lord, but next thing you know, you have these, I wouldn't say cravings.
Desires?
Desires, that's a good word,
Passions?
Kimberly. You're having some of those passions, right, for somebody. And you know that you need to stay following the Lord, and you need to quit looking to the right and to the left. Quit looking, and you need to stay forward, right? So then, let's say you're having some struggles with that, right? Because you know what? Hey, let's just spit it out. You have been...
homosexual.
Thank you. You've been there. So now you want to follow the Lord. So how would this promise? I will cover you with his feathers. You will take refuge under his wings. So that is one of his promises, that he's going to cover you with his feathers. So he's going to protect you if you just stay underneath the wings.
Yeah.
If you just stay, because what happens is we'll start watching movies, we'll start reading books, we'll start listening to other people, everybody else listening about sex and blah, 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 blah. And next thing you know, you start to drift off to the left. and get out from underneath his feathers. Or you start drifting off to the right and you start getting out from underneath his feathers. But what you need to do is like, all right, God, help me with these desires, because you say that, I need to stay focused. I need to do what I'm going to be faithful to you, because that's what you've called me to do. So then you take refuge under his wing. His faithfulness will be a protective shield. Has that not happened for you?
It has happened for me. It really has.
But in this right here, if you know Psalms, I'll give you a chance to think. But if you know Psalms 4, this is a promise. He's going to cover you with his faithfulness. So you have to, when you're struggling with these things, you have to go back to the Word and say, hey, God, I need you to protect me right now. I am struggling with this. I need you to cover me with this. And when you go back to the Lord, when you ask Jesus for help, I'll promise you, man, there's other promises that we're going to go over some other time, when he gives you the peace and the wisdom and the strength not to go through it. And then, boom, then the blessings come. But was there a time, like let's end with this. But for you, for example, when you struggle with those things, where do you go?
I go to the Lord. I go to the feet of Christ, because I know that whenever I gave it up, it was kind of a declaration to God that I made. It was kind of like, like how some people do Lent and they give up something.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the most sacrificial things that they could do in that moment during that time period that they do Lent. It's like that for life for me. Like that was, I wanted to give it up because I knew that that's how it is in the Bible. Right. And I wanted to lead people whenever I got out of prison. I wanted to do prison ministry. I knew I wanted to. And I didn't know how it was going to happen. I just knew I wanted to. And I kept hearing like this pull in my heart. It's like, well, how are you going to lead somebody if you're practicing something against what I say in my word? Kind of like, how are you going to lead someone in recovery if you're high? If you're drinking, it's kind of the same thing. How are you going to lead others in my word if you're living against it?
Here's how you do it if you're drinking. Was high.
So I knew I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be the lukewarm Christian that could be just spewed from the mouth because he'd rather you hot or cold. I wanted to be in right standing with the Lord, so that whenever I was ready to be in a place to go and minister to people and lead people and be a testimony to him and for other people, like I wanted it to be powerful. I wanted it to be something that God could really shine through. I wanted to be that light of the world. And so it took a lot. It took a lot because I always praised God and I always said how much I love God, but I still practice homosexuality. And so whenever I finally gave it up, it was really a thing with Jesus. Like, Jesus, this is what I want to do, but I am not strong enough to do this on my own because I have lustful desires. And to this day, I still do. To this day, I still have moments where I see a very pretty female and I'm like, oh,
no, I don't know.
Dang, You
wouldn't have made it into Bahamas then. Wow.
And then I had to be like, oh, in my mind, I don't do it audibly, but in my mind, I'm like, stop, Kim, and I have to like distract myself and just like, God, I'm so sorry. Like, I know that I'm supposed to be doing something different, but this is what sin that really lives in me. And I want to be different and I want to be better. And so I really stepped into that, and it started changing me in a lot of ways. Like my whole demeanor started changing the more that I've relied on God and I've leaned on him for, I'm not saying everyone's transformation will be like that, but I stepped more into like how God most likely intended me to look, like the way I look right now, like without the fake eyelashes and without all that, and just like me and not with the short fade and not with the, so there's a lot that comes with it.
There is a lot to come with
That
it.
is like a really big thing for me.
Yeah, and Kim didn't know we were going to be talking about this. So the thing about it, though, is like what you said, though, is when you have those thoughts, where's the first place you go?
I have to go to the feet
You
of Christ.
have to go to the feet of Christ, because you know what? You know his promises. You know that you can always go there,
Yeah.
because you
And
know.
he'll help you carry your cross.
And he will, but you know that he's always there, always. So that's a promise. And then, because we didn't plan on talking about this,
Yeah.
but you know it all fits together.
I don't know.
So
I
then-
want to cry.
Don't cry.
Okay.
But then you go to Psalms, and what happens is when you go to Christ, because you have those thoughts, say, man, that's not who I am. I'm not that person anymore. I do not want that anymore. So technically, what the promise is actually, if you go up to the verse before that, he says, he himself will deliver you from the hunter's nest, from the destructive plague,
From the destructive women.
from the black widow, right? From the black widow, so to speak. But so you know that, and he will cover you with his feathers, and you will take refuge under his wings. His faithfulness will be a protective shield. You will not fear and tremble the tremor of the night, the arrow that flies by day, the plague that stalks in darkness. But the thing about it is, you know that he's not going to leave you. He's not going to forsake you. You know to where to go. And then what happens is he covers you with his wings and protects you when you go to him with the struggles of it. That's one of his promises. But sometimes, for me, when you're talking about that, sometimes you may need somebody else to say, man, God was covering you with his wings right there. And then you realize he was covering me with his wings. And then now now that you know exactly how that's happened, now you could say, hey, look, when I went back to God, what he did was cover me with his wings, because that's what he promises to do. He doesn't just flap his wings and say, man, you're all by yourself. Tough luck. No, that's not what he does, because that's not one of his promises.
The way you say it is so funny.
Well, it's so true,
Tough
though, right?
luck.
Tough luck. But the thing about it, ladies or gentlemen, is no matter what you're going through, Kim's situation, the situations I don't want to go to the right, and I don't want to go to the left, because I've already been that way, and that's a no-winner. That's a loser. I want to be successful in everything I do, even though it doesn't work out on this planet. It's always going to work out for us, because God's always there with us.
Amen.
There's nothing more successful than knowing that God is with us all the time. And I don't want to step out of that. Why would I want to go to the next lane over and 2 lanes over? Then I become a gutter ball. I don't want to do that. I want to stay in the lane with God, because that's where true success is, no matter what the situation. So you know what? That's our encouragement today. Whatever you're going through, whatever you're struggling with, whatever the case may be is, ask God to help you, let him cover you with his protection, and go to bed early.
Go to bed early.
But just rest assured, that's one of his promises. And we're going to go over a lot of his promises, because I need them.
You almost lost a tooth there or something?
No, I didn't lose a tooth. But I want to know, I need to know more of his promises
Amen.
to be able to share too. How about you, Kimberly? I know we shared a little bit today. That was okay.
I think it was okay. I think you did really good.
Oh, well, thanks.
Kind of threw me out there.
Why?
I don't know. I was just shy.
Well, I mean,
My encouragement is today.
time out. Kimby, I throw her out there, but you know what Kimberly is? She's used to it now. And the thing about it is, what I know about Kimberly is that's not there anymore. Kimberly's old self is not there. I never knew Kimberly in her old self. And I don't want to know Kimberly in her old self. I know Kimberly in the new self. So I'm not afraid to throw her, like it looks like I'm throwing her under the bus, but I'm not throwing her under the bus,
No, you're
because
not.
that was the past.
That's
And
right.
if you still struggle a little bit with the past, you're going to the future now where Christ is.
Mm-hmm.
So Christ is now my future. That's what matters. So I don't really mind throwing you under the bus a little bit. No different than you could throw me under the bus, because guess what? That's not me anymore. And how I get past some of this is God's promises. All right, sorry. I know, but I'm excited about that.
I'm excited too.
Okay, it doesn't sound like it.
Tom's like one of my best friends.
Yeah, I'm an old man.
He's young in heart.
I am young at heart.
This is going to be a different kind of encouragement. You're probably going to look at me weird. So I've been really focused on God doesn't want you just to be healthy spiritually. He wants you to be healthy mentally and physically and internally. So if you have very unhealthy habits right now, ask God to help you break them like I have been doing. I think that it's really important that we start treating ourselves better and loving ourselves better.
How are you going to get, what, now they're selling carrot sticks in commissary?
You can find...
There's healthy food in commissary?
No, but you can...
I didn't think so.
You can limit what you put. You can limit what you put into your body. You can limit the amount of sodas you drink a day. You can limit... Okay. You can...
Quit
maximize your water.
Okay.
You can get up and actually move around and not sit in front of a TV or lay in a bed and read a book.
Okay.
Get up and be active. Be more healthy.
Yeah.
Talk to the Lord while you're practicing all these new healthy habits and watch how your life turns around.
No doubt.
Like you would not believe how much closer to God you get when you start taking care of your inner self.
Yeah.
Physically, mentally, and it just aligns.
Yes.
I didn't think that it would, but it aligns. I am probably in the most, like my spirit, the place I'm at spiritually right now in my heart is so deep. My devotions every morning and every night that I've been doing is just getting so deep with the Lord. It's amazing.
And then you've been putting better food in you.
Yeah,
and,
like, I know if you're in prison, you probably don't have as many options, but put in better food. Limit, like, your food. Like, limit your sodas. Get up and move around. Mm-hmm. Put good things into your body and into your mind. Mm-hmm. Meditate on His Word. Do prayers. Get with somebody and, do some Jericho walks and do some fasting. Maybe not a 24-hour, but, like 12-hour fasting. Just take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Study some nutrition from the library. Do something for yourself and watch how God works in your life. Whenever you start protecting His temple, there's some amazing things that it's going to start opening up in your heart.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That's a good word. And then you know what, Kim? You, me, and everybody that's watching, start to think about all the conversations you have and start to discern, was that the truth or was that a lie? Was that God's promise or was that a fake out? I'm tired of the fake out. I just want to live by the truth. And I'll tell you what, we live in a society now, the truth is being so distorted.
Yeah, it is.
It's probably been distorted since the beginning, since Adam and Eve.
It's so funny we're talking about this because you know what? A big lie that, prices and gas and groceries and all that is going up right now. And I know it's temporary.
Well, they say it is.
I hope it's temporary.
I hope it is too.
It took $36 to fill up my car.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, but prices are going up. It's kind of crazy out here right now, right? And enough is not enough. That's one of the biggest lies that people fall into that America is just suffering from. And I actually wrote in my little journal that I got from my Aunt Kathy. I'm going to start writing to God every night. I actually wrote to Him, like, I get stuck in that mindset. But God always gives you exactly enough. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
Like, so wherever you're at today, just remember, it may not seem like much. It may not seem like enough, but God's enough is always enough.
Always enough. If God's there, it's enough. Even if you have nothing, you
That's
have
right.
God, and that's everything.
Jesus, and that's enough.
That is. All right, Kim, good podcast.
All right, great podcast. Thanks, Tom.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Tom Turkey.
See you Saturday at Halbert.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Everybody have a good evening. Have a good night. Rest peacefully, and we'll see you soon.
All right.
All right, bye. Thanks for watching our podcast today. We want to give you the opportunity to trust Jesus as your Savior if you have not done that already. Just put your trust in Him. Follow Him in faith. Know that He is the perfect sacrifice for your sins. All you have to do is say, hey, Jesus, forgive me of my sins. I want to trust you. I want to follow you. I don't want to do it my way anymore. Come and live in me. I need eternal life. And you know what? Jesus will meet you right there, because the Bible says that when you do that you have eternal life. He'll never leave you or forsake you. It's amazing. I don't know what's taking you so long, but just quit wasting time, because the more you put it off, the more, not that you'll have regrets, but you'll wish you would have done it sooner. So whatever you're going through today, you trust Jesus and you let us know so we can do the happy dance with you. All right? Have a good afternoon or good evening or good morning whenever you're watching this. See you later.